What's up, y'all? Hope y'all doing good. Welcome to a new episode of Wrestling with Rumors. Now, normally I drop new episodes on Sunday, but because WrestleMania is a weekend event, there's going to be zero time for me to get on here and be dropping a new episode of a Wrestling with Rumors like I normally do on Sundays. Next Sunday, back to regular day when I drop a new episode of Wrestling with Rumors. But because of WrestleMania, I make the exception because none of us are gonna miss anything that's gonna happen, from the excitement to the cheers to the boos to the surprise, the possible turns, the possible debuts, the possible returns, the unexpectedness of everything that could happen at WrestleMania. We're all going to be in for it, and there's going to be no time to be dropping a new episode either Saturday or Sunday for Wrestling with Rumors. So I'm here today on Friday for to see all of you, to be talking some of the rumors from the past week, and that is what we are going to do here, because that is what we do here on Wrestling with Rumors. Before I get into them, as I always say, every rumor that I am about to read to you are exactly that. They are all rumors until they are proven true as fact, or we see them on TV. We speculate as wildly as we want to. So let's get into Wrestling with Rumors. Excuse me. Up first, Scorpio Sky is healthy and is good to go. So it's not clear what's keeping him off AEW television. That per a Fightful Select report that also says there was a creative pitch to Team Sky with Private Party, which was teased on television but never followed up on. Yes, I have brought in Scorpio Sky up a few times here on Wrestling with Rumors. Stuff that I've said about Scorpio Sky, that I felt how AEW has been using Scorpio Sky, or lack thereof, and the rumors that I've read about Scorpio Sky as well. I'm going to say it once again, that AEW, Tony Khan, has one hell of a talent in Scorpio Sky, and the fact that they are not using him, that they're letting him ride the bench, letting him sit in the backstage area, it's messed up. Use him. All right? What does this say about your creative team, your creativeness, Tony Khan, if you got nothing for Scorpio Sky? If you got nothing for Scorpio Sky and you're just going to waste your father's money on Scorpio Sky and not use him, then release him. Let him go somewhere where he will be used. Let him get back on the independents. Let him possibly, for my own bias reasons, let him go to NXT. Let him see if WWE might be interested in Scorpio Sky, and then let him go into NXT. Let him rise up in NXT and then see how he does, and then maybe go to the main roster. Either way, if you're not going to use Scorpio Sky, Tony Khan, then then release him. Let him be free so he can go fly elsewhere. All I'm going to say about that. F4W Online's David Meltzer on Jeff Cobb leaving New Japan Pro Wrestling for WWE. Those in WWE had confirmed Cobb is starting soon. But the only other thing we were told is that he is not Randy Orton's opponent at WrestleMania. While he had moved to Japan, his age was likely the key, and the money in WWE and AEW was so much better than New Japan. For whatever reason, he didn't have a lot of interest in AEW, where he also could have gone. Okay, so based off of this, it looks like Jeff Cobb is coming to WWE. Now, if that's true, I'm all for it. I'm excited. If he does come to WWE, I really feel like he'll start in NXT, and I feel like for anyone who, I feel like for newcomers into WWE, I feel like going through NXT is the best option because it allows you to, for one thing, you have easy access right there to the Performance Center, but also it allows you to get comfortable in the WWE system and how it works instead of getting thrown into the deep end, into the sharks right off the bat. Start in the NXT program, and allow yourself to get comfortable in it and go right for it. Some get thrown right into the sharks right away and they thrive, but there are others that I always just felt like whether they'll thrive right away in the NXT system, or just get thrown into the main event, into the main roster. I always felt comfortable letting them start in NXT for however long just to get comfortable before going to the main roster. But if the confidence is there and they feel like they can do it, let them go. Let them go right into the main roster and see what happens. There are plenty of examples of doing that where there have been men and women who have come to WWE and that just and who debuted right away in the main roster and killed it. AJ Styles is one of them. Jade Cargill is another. Jacob Fatu, Tama Tonga, Tongaloa. So it makes sense. And Tongaloa has been in WWE before. Anyway, but nonetheless, there are examples for either or. So anyway, Jeff Cobb, I'm looking forward to when he does, if and when he does come. According to PW Insider, there was a rumor at one point after her program with Toni Storm ended that Mariah May requested her release from AEW, but they couldn't confirm its accuracy. Meanwhile, WWE sources are playing coy in regard to how interested they may be in signing her because she's still under contract elsewhere. So yes, there have been plenty of rumors going around about Mariah May making her wanting to come to WWE, or has been released and is signing with WWE. I brought something up about that earlier in the week. If the rumors are true about Mariah May leaving AEW to come to WWE, or just coming to WWE, that, as what we've seen from what we've seen from Mariah May in the year of her in AEW and what she did and being champion and how she was as a heel champion, was incredible. And for me personally, I always felt that Mariah May should have been AEW champion a lot longer, because I always believed that they could have had that program between Mariah May and Toni Storm last so much longer and could have gone into All In with the same when and how Mariah May won the AEW championship at All In. You bring it full circle and you have it where Toni Storm gets her last revenge, finally gets her revenge, and then wins the AEW championship at All In. But they went the route that they went, and it's it's how it goes. Is how it goes. It was just my opinion. It was just me speculating how I felt how that feud could have gone. It's the same thing I feel about Harley. It's the same thing I feel about Harley. How Harley Cameron, about how she should have won the TBS championship at that event they did in Australia, but they didn't. So it is what it is. Anyway, moving forward, on a Wrestle Binge Q&A, WrestleVote said Roxanne Perez will be on the main roster post WrestleMania and get a good spot and push to start. They added, she's got a hell of a career lined up for her. Absolutely, she does. Roxanne Perez is going to be one of the top. I really believe she's going to be one of the top main eventers in the women's division on either Raw or SmackDown. And I'm just looking forward to get her started. I really hope in a rumor that I read not too long ago, when that rumor was talking about how Roxanne Perez, when she gets started on in the main roster, she's going to continue her feud with Bayley, and I really hope that happens. And if that does, that means she's going to go to Raw and go from there and continue that rivalry that got started with Bayley. So I really hope that happens. In an interview with The Hollywood Reporter, Tony Khan said he likes AEW's current schedule of 9 pay-per-views per year, but could see going up to 10. Okay, if you feel like you can go for 10, go for 10. But you need to, but I will say, and I said this in the beginning of the year, that when you do decide to do pay-per-views and show them on Max, they really should have, in that deal, it really should have been where people who are Max subscribers should be able to watch the AEW pay-per-views for free because they are Max subscribers, instead of adding an extra cost to Max subscribers to pay to watch the pay-per-view. It should have been like that. Just like it is with WWE with Peacock. And I don't like comparing the two because each company is its own thing and are on different levels. But it should have been like that. Anyway, during a Fanatics Live signing at WWE World in Las Vegas, Big E said Rusev confirmed with him that he is returning to WWE. Excellent. Rusev Day is once again upon us. At least it will be soon. According to Fightful, Sarah Stock is no longer with AEW. She worked for the company over the last 2 years as a producer and coach. It was noted that Stock raised issues with the company's mental health program and department being heavily shifted. However, it's not known if that was related to her exit. It might have not been fully related to her exit, but it might have had some motivation behind her exit. So where she goes next, none of us really know, but I wish her the best, and I'm sure wherever she goes, she'll land on her feet, because she was a hell of a coach, hell of a producer, from what I've seen and known. All right, that'll do it for rumors. So on the last episode of Wrestling with Rumors, towards the end of it, I went over everything WrestleMania, the scheduling, the timing, and all of that. And one of the first things that I brought up was the Hall of Fame. Now, I didn't have a full time and run time for the Hall of Fame because it hadn't popped up yet on Peacock's live and upcoming scheduling. Good news, it finally has, as well as the kickoff show that starts at 2:00 today, West Coast time, which is, I believe, 5:00 East Coast time. So, as far as the Hall of Fame start time, the official start time, now I know WWE has been advertising that the Hall of Fame will start live on Peacock at 10 p.m. Now, if you want to watch the red carpet, if you want to watch the red carpet of the Hall of Fame on Peacock, that'll start at 9 p.m. and run until about 12:30, which gives it about a 3.5 hour run time. And that's counting with the Hall of Fame. Now, so to all of you, my friends, my fellow wrestling friends in the East Coast, that means the Hall of Fame with the red carpet starts at 12 a.m. If you're up all night to watch it, which means that runs until about 3:30 in the morning, if y'all decide to stay up and watch it. But for us here on the West Coast, 9 p.m. is the start time, which means after SmackDown goes off, we only have about an hour of just to cool out before flip to Peacock to watch the Hall of Fame ceremony. And so moving forward, I've got a little. AEW decided to went ahead and released their scheduling for the week of July 9th through the 12th for what they're calling All In Week. So we got Dynamite on Wednesday, Collision on Thursday. Then they got StarCast, which is Friday and Saturday. They got Death of Dishonor on Friday. And then they got All In on Saturday starting at 12 p.m. with it, which is 3 p.m. Eastern time on the East Coast. But there's a lot going on, and it feels, I don't know how. You got StarCast, and you got Death of Dishonor both on. They're both on Friday. So I don't know how that's gonna work unless they're having an option where some people can go to Death of Dishonor and some people can go to StarCast. Excuse me. StarCast is not a televised thing. That's just something you go to as a live event. Death of Dishonor, that's Ring of Honor. So that'll probably be on the Ring of Honor's streaming site, and then All In pay-per-view. And that was what they released. That was what AEW released during Dynamite of everything that was going down from July 9th to July 12th. As far as the Owen Hart tournament, at the end of the men's excuse me. So at the end of the men's and at the end of the women's and men's Owen Hart tournaments, this is how I believe I see who's winning. I think Mercedes Moné will be winning the tournament and will face Toni Storm for the AEW Women's Championship. And I feel like Will Ospreay will win and end up facing Jon Moxley for the AEW Championship at All In. Now, as far as who will win at All In for these respective championships, as far as Jon Moxley goes, I wouldn't be surprised on both ends, honestly. I wouldn't be surprised if Jon Moxley ends up winning, because right now Jon Moxley is looking like the top guy in a sense, as the guy that is being used for everything. So it would make sense if Will Ospreay is the one to dethrone Jon Moxley for the AEW Championship. But on the flip of that coin, the way that Jon Moxley has been winning every championship match, and how Tony Khan has been happy with the numbers the numbers of Jon Moxley winning the championship, and been happy with Jon Moxley being AEW Championship. I also see Jon Moxley retaining his AEW Championship at All In, but I also see a lot of people that happens being very upset. As for Toni Storm, honestly, I see the same thing. I could Toni Storm retaining at All In. I could see it, but her history of winning a championship at All In is not very good. So, Mercedes Moné winning that AEW Women's Championship, that's the last championship for her to win. But the question is she going to have all those other championships, including the TBS Championship, by the time we get to All In? By the time we get to All In, she can have all these championships. And if she wins the AEW Women's Championship, is it just another championship for her to have with all these other championships? I feel like if she's going to win the AEW Women's Championship, she needs to drop the other championships, because that's the main one. That's in AEW, that's the main one. That's the big one. But honestly, I see this early in the game, Toni Storm, Jon Moxley, but Will Ospreay winning would be a very big moment within AEW for the crowd. So honestly, go either way on that one. Now, going back to WWE stuff, before Stand and Deliver. So during the Stand and Deliver pre-show, there is a match that is going to happen, and that will be Lash Legend and Jakari Jackson versus Roxanne Perez and Cora Jade versus Fatal Influence versus Tatum Paxley and Gigi Dolan. And that match is a number one contenders fatal four-way elimination match, with the winners going off to face Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez, or Bayley and Lyra Valkyria for the Women's Tag Team Championships sometime after WrestleMania. Now, right off the bat, I see Roxanne Perez and Cora Jade winning this match, because this would be the end for Roxanne Perez for the main roster. So I going into this match tomorrow morning, which will be at 9 a.m. 9 a.m. Pacific time, 12 p.m. Eastern. I see Roxanne Perez and Cora Jade winning this match. And that would be the end for Roxanne Perez into the main roster. And possibly even Cora Jade. Possibly. As far as Stand and Deliver, here's the card for Stand and Deliver. Ricky Saints versus Ethan Page for the North American Championship. Hank and Tank versus Fraxium for the NXT Tag Team titles. Kalani Jordan versus Soruka versus Izzy Dame versus Lola Vice versus Thea Hale in a ladder match for the Women's North American Championship. Remember, the North American Championship was dropped by Stephanie Vaquer because in the beginning of that episode of NXT, Stephanie Vaquer wanted to make sure the women had opportunities for the championship, and in doing that, she had to drop the title and then hold on to the NXT championship. So now there is this ladder match to determine who will be the newly crowned the Women's North American Championship. Speaking of Stephanie Vaquer, she has a match, fatal four-way versus Julia versus Jada Parker versus Jordan Grace for the NXT Women's Championship, and Obafemi versus Trick Williams versus Javon Evans for the NXT Championship. This match, I see Obafemi retaining his NXT Championship. Yeah. And before I go, really quick, I'm going to lay out a few names as possible winners at WrestleMania. Just a few names. I'm not going to list every single name, but just a few names. So we got Jey Uso. We got Tiffany Stratton. Seth Rollins. John Cena. And Aleister Black. And I say Aleister Black because I believe that is where Aleister Black will make his debut against Randy Orton. Now, later on this evening on SmackDown, we might find out who Randy Orton might face at WrestleMania. If it happens to be Nick Aldis, then I'll change my name from Aleister Black to Nick Aldis. But I'm thinking Aleister Black, that is where he'll make his return at WrestleMania to face Randy Orton as his opponent. But that'll do it for this week in Wrestling with Rumors. Wrestling with Rumors will return to its regular day on Sunday next week. But for now, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. We're here. WrestleMania weekend is upon us, and we got so much to look forward to this weekend. Barely any sleep to get, but it is worth it because it only comes around once a year. WrestleMania, this is our Super Bowl. This is our World Series. This is our World Cup. This is our New Year's Eve. So let's have fun. Let's do all the things we love to do. Let's feel all the feelings that we are going to feel for WrestleMania weekend. And while we're doing that, let's make sure we're taking care of ourselves. And I will see y'all on the next one. Until then, peace, y'all.